Why am I not on screen?
Excellent stuff. I especially like the flowers on Bright's dress. It's and she has the one floof. We are canonically accurate. All right, so we had left off in the wake of an impromptu battle with these kind of big old like puffy mushroom cats that leapt out of the razor vines, and just when you thought it was safe, spawning the whole time from the blood spilled on the ground behind you from the corpses. Were a bunch of these red caps. I don't know. It's kind of a weird name. I don't know. I don't think it'd stick. But you know, we're we had a battle. There was a firefight, and you have emerged victorious by, well, putting down the ones that were threatening, but also, hi cat. Mordecai ended up obtaining the powers of these kind of mushroomy blood sponges, and went over and stuck his wiggly fingers in the blood mud, and now that seemed to have ceased the production of more of these mushrooms. Let's, I guess, pick up here. Mordecai, you are still feasting. Like, you're on hands and knees. Like, you are just, like, you were down in it. Like, you've pushed, like, up to your forearms, down into the mud here, in the loose soil. And this has been quite the experience for you. So, with everyone except Mordecai, who's right now slightly indisposed, not that any of you can't interact with Mordecai, but who would like to start whatever? Conversation, investigation, continuation?
We've only got about 20 more seconds before Kazimir turns back into, blah. So, I just want to say, I'm sorry, Kazimir, for not operating your shield properly, and for you getting confoobled by all those red caps. You were very helpful, so thanks. Okay, bye.
Actually, Bright, on that note, would you please make an Arcana check?
Okay, I can do that. Why don't I have my character sheet? There it is.
Yay! With 20 seconds remaining, your mind hitches onto an idea where it... Ma'am, don't rub on the camera, please. Thank you. All right. Oh, don't flap me with your tail either, please. Your mind hitches onto an idea. One of those, it's crazy, but it might work. That there could be a way to extend Kazimir's consciousness through magic. But you'd have to really think about it more. However, you may be able to manipulate the magics that you were experiencing in such a way to be able to keep Kazimir animated.
Oh, well, I don't really need to keep him animated. I mean, weren't we gonna just, get him fixed? Celine, didn't you know how to fix him again?
Yeah, but I don't have the component for it. That's why we need to go back and get the component for it.
So, does anybody... Okay. I mean, I don't know. I can always try casting it again, but that would be my last spell.
Well, why don't...
Well, almost.
Why don't we find a place to set up camp?
Oh no, I'm definitely not ready for camp. Because Mordecai and I have places to go.
Well, that's what I was thinking, that we set up camp, you guys go and do the thing, including getting me the component that I require to fix Kazimir, and then come back, and then we could do all of that.
During this conversation, Kazimir... 20 seconds has passed. Kazimir shutting down.
What time of day is it?
We are in early evening, so the sun is on its downward arc. shadows are going to start to get long, and it's still bright light, but you don't have much more daylight, bright daylight left.
So I was thinking maybe we should set the brambles on fire. To, like, getting into more trouble with them.
That sounds like a good idea to me.
So why don't we find somewhere to sit and...
Okay. So what I want to do is, what I want to do is use mold earth. I'm really getting a lot of use out of mold earth. It's
Okay.
a really good spell.
It is.
I didn't expect it to be this good. And just dig a little trench around the brambles as far as I can so that the fire doesn't get out of hand.
Okay, this will take a while. Like, this will probably take the remaining daylight here, because, remember, it's a really big patch around.
Yeah. Okay, so, Mordecai, you need to go back and get the diamonds, right? And I'm hoping you can take me back to my little gnome hole. I know you don't know where it is, and that's on purpose, but I know where it is. And just let me off so I can get my things.
Sure, yeah.
How's Jasper doing? I know he got hit a couple of times.
Sorry, what? You got hit a couple of times?
Jasper.
No, Jasper got hit a
Oh.
couple of times.
Oh, yeah, he's not doing so hot. Yeah, but he should be fine for a flight.
Okay, well then, I'm not sure exactly how far it is, but my guess is it's probably like an hour there, and then probably another hour to the town, and then probably another hour back here. Does that seem about right?
Should be fine, right? It's not that late right now.
Eddie, does that sound about right?
If you're taking Jasper, yeah, you could reach the town before the sun sets.
Okay, well, let's maybe
Not
we
by
can
much,
do that.
but you could still, while there's still some daylight in the sky.
That's not necessarily the large concern at this point.
What are you worried about?
He kind of ends up looking at the two corpses. Grabs hold of the remains of one of the, smaller than cat-like mushrooms. Checks the skull. Would it happen to be a fair fit? Of one of the two dead. You know, the ones that had their brains opened. Yeah. Now, because I have a sneaky
Matty, you're muted.
suspicion.
Whoops. There I am. I'm not muted
I have
anymore.
a sneaky suspicion, but I'm not sure on how I could confirm it, though I'm pretty sure that's just because Jacob's smarter than I am. That these individuals out here were only coming out here to end up causing this bramble ambush to the Fomorians. Fomorians kept going, not a problem. Bodies were damaged, too bad to continue. And so they hopped out, waiting to end up jumping in, doing something else. So, or waiting until they can find new hosts. If that's the case, that would imply that these two were infected with this, well, we'll call it the cat for now, but they were infected before they left town. As they're both carrying points of wee jazz, that would imply that they are currently involved in the church. Which means, at this point, the Fae that everybody's concerned about is all end up leading back into town. And I'm pretty sure that this would be a high concern for Celine. So, With that in mind, I am looking for any form of evidence, whether it be the timescale that where Celine said this happened 2 hours ago, whether this was a case of, well, if they happened here 2 hours ago and we've only been 2 hours behind them, either these things are incredibly quick or they're already involved. But I'm trying to look for evidence that could support this theory. And I'm trying to look for any way that, whether it could confirm or deny what it is my suspicions are.
Sure.
I have no idea on how to even start going about that. That's just where I'm going off of right now.
Yep. If that's fine. You're letting me know the direction in which you'd like to travel, and I don't have an immediate custom response for that. Let me ponder what the others are doing, and I will work with you during this. Not downtime necessarily. It's kind of downtime, but you're not in combat. And I will work with you to see if there's something that we can do to set up an experiment or to follow a logic chain. Because there's a couple other conditions here. So Kazimir, you have deactivated, and you are back to being just kind of a drooling mess. Someone should at least keep you on your side so you don't yeah. So yeah, right now you're just stunned and kind of flopped on the ground. Mordecai, there's a change that is overcoming you. So as you're having the conversation with Bright about Jasper, and you're there just like you're in the soil and all this is happening, you go to reply about midway through the conversation here, and you may not see it, but the others of you see that Mordecai has taken on a different visage. He is still blue, but there's other sort of colors and hues that are mixed in to his flesh, which also has kind of a smooth, waxy complexion. His hair seems to be going back into these odd kind of, almost like how ferns fern fronds can curl and open, and they'll have like little seed pods and whatnot. And as Mordecai starts addressing you all, Mordecai, not that you feel any different per se, but you have taken on aspects of a creature that you can see on the screen here, at least once the delay vanishes. And for those of you at home, these are myconids. If you have your monster manual open. And so you still function, you still feel excellent actually. However, your appearance is taking on a mushroom Mordecai look.
I can't see anything.
Oh, it was on. I put it up on the stream screen. But if you look at it's on page.
I know what they look like.
Oh, okay.
I just wondered if it was maybe broken.
Oh, I mean, hopefully it showed up on stream. But for all of you out there, page 231 of the monster manual will give you an idea. The page after also has an interesting little eyeball. So Mordecai, maybe your eyes are sort of taking on that kind of Zuchtmoy-esque pupil. That's fun to say, Zuchtmoy-esque. It almost sounds like a cuss. Hey, Zuchtmoy-esque!
Hey, that's our one.
Yeah. What? Oh. So yeah, Mordecai, at least for the time being, you are a fungal vampire tiefling.
Does that do anything for me mechanically?
It means you're a fun guy.
Hey, Kazimir in with
Hey.
that. Yeah. Kazimier's lucid just for that one moment of his own regard, just to get that in, and then suddenly, it may have mechanical benefits to be explored as you wish to interact with the world or other people or creatures. Or, I will tell you, Mordecai, you certainly feel full of blood. You are well fed, but there's something about those corpses that just calls out to you, like something yummy about them, but not in a consuming way. Just something, I don't know, like you'd be attracted to jewelry or to get a cool new tattoo or some nice fancy clothes. These corpses just have an appeal to you.
Interesting. But yeah, so we're heading back to town?
No. So we might have to. Celine wanted to make camp.
Yes. So that those two can go and do their thing. And
We don't
can
exactly
set up-
have any camping materials.
True, Mordecai has kind of been our camping materials.
Huh.
You
Oh,
still,
that's right.
can you still do that thing?
No.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wait, no? Yes.
so
I
You
suppose
could
you can cast it, but
Well,
Could-
yeah, but I can't leave it.
leave it. Yeah.
leave it.
Mhm.
This is why we need to pick you up magnificent mansion later on, because then you don't have to worry about leaving the door.
So I guess we could just leave you guys here. You guys could like make s'mores.
Set up a
that's
campfire, and then I'll set up the shelter later.
that works as an idea.
Well, why don't you guys a bit farther on and we can
We'll find you.
your trail.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get
Sometimes so we
Kazimir
can
to.
find them. Well,
We'll get Kazimir to follow us.
might have to
Come on, buddy. Let's get you some food.
leave you here, and we need to set these brambles on fire anyway. So why don't we just do the things? I mean, I need to go back into my gnome hole, and Mordecai needs to go into town, and
Like, yeah,
then
we really should set these
we need to
brambles
come
on
back
fire.
here. And I don't really. I mean, I think Mordecai should hurry back to town because he needs to get there before the jewelry store closes.
That should be the first thing that we go for then.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and do that then.
Mordecai, I would suggest doing something about your appearance before you go into town, as you look interesting.
I have a disguise kit. I can make myself look like myself, but I haven't been pointed out that I look weird.
That is true. So I guess in a meta sense, I'm just so you know, you are a mushroom, and
Although speaking of, Mordecai,
Yes.
do you feel different at all?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of typical to feel different depending on
You kind of look like a
circumstance?
mushroom.
what.
You look like a mushroom.
I reach into my pack for my disguise kit, and if I have a mirror, I'm gonna look in it.
Yeah,
And
I'm
find that I
sure
look
you'd have a
weird.
mirror.
yeah. Well, you're very colorful, and your hair isn't hair, but you have a semblance of it. You still have kind of rooty fingertips, and yeah, your skin kind of has a glossy, woody appearance to it.
I may not be able to go into town after all. I don't know that I can cover this up.
Yeah, a disguise kit's probably not going to do that. We're talking magic or travel in the dark, completely covered, and hopefully you get lucky.
Yeah, I don't exactly have a disguise spell. I used to, but I don't
Yeah.
remember it right now.
So, I mean, there's a thing. I mean, I could probably do it. It would be kind of awkward, but I could probably get it done in town if I have to, just by myself.
Bright, is your arcane eye still up, or did that drop at some point?
Oh, I had to turn that off to activate Kazimir.
Okay.
Excuse me, Celine. Let me. I want to repeat this riddle for you before we go, just in case.
Okay. I could work on it while you're gone.
Yeah, in case the answer's not obvious, it might be. So I'm gonna go ahead and can I do the usual intelligence check?
Yes, you may.
Also gonna use my +1 and my bardic inspiration.
Ooh.
Good idea.
Okay, so that's a 15 plus that becomes a 16, which becomes a 21.
Ooh. All right. Yes. You recall, and even as you're doing so, and maybe as a mnemonic device, you almost swear you hear the chirping of Peggy Sue, just kind of go along with the cadence, maybe to help pronounce some of those rolling that is in Draconic. Those are very difficult at times to pronounce. But yes, with that, you can accurately recall. My goodness, hang on one second. She is absolutely determined to tear things up, ma'am. There you go. Thank you. And you get a whisper from Peggy Sue, interestingly enough, as you're doing this as well, and just this consciousness of your familiar. Let me do it. Let me do it.
Okay. What do I do? I didn't know if you could do that. Okay, go ahead and try.
All right. I love the prop. You have Peggy Sue. Peggy Sue leaps from your hand and lands on the ground and takes a couple bounces and crawls into Kazimir's ear. Do it.
You want me to turn him on again?
Yep.
Okay, this is my last powerful spell. Activate.
Kazimir. Two things. One, there's a cricket in your head. Two, you are Bright's familiar.
It's finally come to pass after so much time.
Bright, you feel a magical link between you and Kazimir, as if you could cast spells through Kazimir, or otherwise, as it would seem, a fickle god has. So as long as you're maintaining Peggy Sue, Kazimir is maintaining, animation provided by you through Peggy Sue. And so you have a cricket in your ear, Kazimir, and you can act on behalf of Bright as a familiar. But Peggy Sue needs to be inside your ear to conduct the magic as this happens.
So
Bright?
can I don't know what's going on. Peggy Sue just asked if she could do that, and now this is happening. And it's all super weird. Can I make an Arcana check to find out how long this will last?
Yes, you could do this at advantage, actually.
Okay.
There's been a lot of things that have been weird about you, right, lately.
Yeah, I know, I'm used to that, but it's weirder than normal. At least weirder than it has been for the past, few months.
Taking the 26, you feel that the circumstances that have happened here, the magic, the innate sort of twisting of the spell, and your ability to communicate with and through Peggy Sue as a conduit. This is more than just a minute of dominate person. This effect is as long as Peggy Sue is active inside of Kazimir's noggin.
Is Peggy Sue reachable also as well, separately?
Reachable as in...
Communicatable as a separate entity?
I am going to say that Peggy Sue and Kazimir are sort of one as they're receiving commands. So...
Okay, so I'm gonna telepathically reach out, like I have done 1,000 times before, and say, Pegamir? Is that you?
Pegamir. Well, Kazimir, you are welcome to answer as you would like.
I do not believe that is name. Sounds like
It
something
is.
made up.
No, I did. I mean, yes, I did, but I didn't. I mean, I had a reason for making it up. It's not just for fun. Hi. So, yeah, we can do this now. And also, I think I can probably boss you around. Kazimir, walk over there.
And Kazimir, you do. And in fact, Kazimir, there's a very curious bird that has landed on the stone over here that you walk towards, and it chirps at you, and you can actually understand this small, cute creature.
That is new.
Yeah, I think lots of things are going to be new. So I can order you around, but I won't do it very often. So that'll be nice. And look, it looks like you've got your brain back. So, or maybe it's Peggy Sue's brain. Do you have your intelligence or hers? Because she was a cricket, but she was a really smart cricket.
I mean, a cricket compared to a zero intelligence, mannequin. It's kind of a close race.
You have the proportional intelligence of a cricket.
Which makes you a genius compared.
Well, yeah. I mean, so Kazimir can be put on autopilot as per what Peggy Sue might do in a situation. So Kazimir might jump away in danger or something if left on autopilot, you'd act as Peggy Sue would act, because Peggy Sue doesn't want to be squished or anything. So for you to do the smart things, you need to have Bright, be stirring your brain juices.
Okay, so we should probably get you back to normal sooner rather than later, but it doesn't mean we don't have to do it right now, so that's good. And so I had this thing I could do where I could make Peggy Sue disappear, but I don't think I'm going to try that with you. I think, because she has her own little cubby hole in space, and I think it's too small for you. So you would probably back into, salt. So let's not do that.
I think I prefer the salt.
I am so confused.
Yeah, it's pretty strange. I don't understand this at all. I mean, it's good for now because it means that we don't have to get Kazimir restored quite as urgently as we thought we did. I mean, we still should do it, but wait until after we've caught the Fomorians?
Yeah, still want to get the components though, because all like getting the components is the long bit. The easy bit is actually healing him.
Yeah. It's just in a town right now, and I could do it, and it would be some tricky magic, but I'm pretty sure I could pull it off. Maybe Jacob could do it. He's could do
I
it
am
for us.
not breaking the law for you.
I didn't ask you to break the law.
I don't know. You seem to be your modus operandi.
Oh, I mean, just that. I mean, not usually, not always, but
Keep lowering it down.
yeah. Let's settle
You're
on
on the
not
right
always.
slide to just being honest about it. So just keep going.
But no, this wouldn't be breaking the law. This would just be like going into a store and buying a diamond, completely above board.
Buying a diamond.
Diamond dust, to be precise.
Yes.
That's not
Diamond
that's not
dust.
illegal.
Just tossing out this minor fickle.
Look,
god
we can't
to
have
breathe.
Casimir walking around like a zombie
And
possessed by one
who
of.
is subsidizing this?
Oh no.
So
I don't have all the money. I think Mordecai has most of the money.
I have
Where
the
did
money,
he
yes.
steal it from?
We
He didn't
earned
steal
it.
it.
Oh, you
Yeah, we
earned it.
earned it.
It's at this point I pull out Mordecai's underwear.
Well,
You earned it. Hmm?
What?
And which
you
case,
went through my stuff.
when he places
Obviously
it
went through
down,
your stuff.
there
It is a
he
good
opens up
choice.
the 2 bottles of Luciferus. Earned it, legitimately, I'm sure.
Yes,
He's
legitimately.
looking down at the bottles of Luciferus.
Those were for
No.
a different reason.
No,
Really?
Jacob, it wasn't earned through selling Luciferus. He was using his
Luciferus was
product
mine.
performances.
And mine alone.
How much more of this poison did you intend to peddle?
None. It's for
You
personal
hadn't
use.
peddled any of it. I just. Jacob, what is it with you and people selling Luciferus?
It's personal use. I'm an addict, alright?
He's not an addict. He's
I
only
am,
used it
though,
once or
right?
twice. Chris?
I've used it before.
I mean, you've only used it once since I've seen you.
Before that.
As this conversation is taking place, Celine, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Constitution saving, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Please pass. That's not a pass.
Okay. So
That's delightful.
Mordecai is having this conversation about using Luciferus, and is in a bit of a. I mean, you're in this stern state right now, Mordecai. Celine, as that happens, you notice that a part of Mordecai swells into a mighty bulge, and while normally that might be favorable for you, it's not the part that you might be hoping. And it kind of gives a like a tss, and there's some kind of like a smoke or a powder that is emitted from Mordecai as he's having this conversation. And while this conversation is going on, you are you grow rather quiet as you sit down. You're incapacitated and poisoned. However, you are hallucinating right now. And you're seeing things and people, like the snozberries taste like snozberries. Purple makes an awesome sound.
Oh, no.
You've just sat down and you are hallucinating right now. After having Mordecai, since you were next to Mordecai in this state, talking about Luciferus and whatnot.
Yeah. So as that happens, after that happens, Celine's just gonna murmur dreamily, "Hey guys, I think I'm tripping balls."
I turned around to look at her.
Yeah, I'm looking at her
She
too.
says,
Celine, this is not good timing.
No,
There's 3
not at
fingers.
all.
She's like, I didn't do it on purpose. So they have a... What I can only assume is Mordecai, and she's pointing in the exact opposite direction.
I'm right.
Wait, is that Mordecai, or is that Mordecai? Or is that Mordecai? I think that's Mordecai. She's still pointing in somewhere that is not Mordecai's general direction.
I see 4 brights, but I know they got rid of those.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Bright, did you cast Major Image? Not Major Image,
Oh.
Mirror Image? Because I'm
neither of
seeing like 5 of you.
Yes, but they've expired. It's not active right now. I'm the only one that's right here.
And Celine giggles off with the fairies.
I've never seen her like this.
This is new. Usually she's really serious.
Celine, these corpses are apt. Like they want to have a good conversation with you. I mean, they're missing their brains, but it sounds like one has a really good joke to tell.
I don't want to talk to the brainless. They suck.
Celine, are you
Okay,
okay?
when did you grow spores?
I don't know.
Oh, well, if someone wants to, call me when we find the Fomorians, that'd be great. And she lies down and curls up as if she's going to sleep.
That's odd.
So Mordecai, Celine lays down next to the brainless bodies here, and she just kind of occasionally giggles or spasms or whatnot next to him. As you are next to these things, you feel a kind of an itch, and then and once more, like a part of you just gives like a satisfying pop, and this little like smoke cloud, like settles, like it's emitted from you. And it settles over one of the corpses. And the corpse kind of twitches a little bit. And it's starting to twitch, and it just kind of very...
Nope, you stay down. You do not move.
It lays back down.
I had enough of the undead looking at me really weird in the fucking desert, and so I am done with that.
It obeys.
Celine just kind of giggles and she's like, "It's not undead. What are you talking about? He's very obviously a talking meat suit."
So Jacob, I know what you're thinking, but just remember.
You have no idea what I'm thinking.
I have a pretty good idea.
Meat suit.
But just remember, Lucifer's only works on tieflings, and Celine's not, so it's not that.
She has tripping balls, though. I have seen that look. So, I'm not going into town if I can do that to people. Nope, that's not happening.
Fine, hand me the you, Mr. Silverleaf, stay as far away from me as humanly possible at this current stature.
Before this happens, did Celine ever translate the Draconic? Because I know she was going to, and then we got sidetracked.
A mix of events are occurring here, and I'll see if she is capable of doing so. In just one moment, while I'm getting a reply back on there, I still owe an answer back to Jacob, as we're going through some interesting things that are happening on the back end of the back end of this combat. So Kazimir, you are conscious again. You have this ability to talk to small animals, and apparently you have a slightly expanded magical repertoire, if only through remote here. I guess Bright's kind of like a warlock warlock patron to you in a sense. But you do have yourself back, and you have Peggy Sue, and there may be some other fun benefits in the meantime. Bright, you have Kazimir up, and you also have a familiar that has a lot of hit points and a battle axe that is willing to be put into the skulls of people on your behalf. Mordecai, you have assumed this kind of mushroom form, and you have some different abilities. One of them apparently is the ability to make people just hallucinate, and the other is causing the dead to stir.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
At least it listened to you. And there's not a bunch of creepy black hair anywhere. And Jacob, as all this is happening, your mind is turning over, and there's so much going on, and you have, you're flipping in your book. The hypothesis may very well be correct when you're thinking about this, as facts are lining up. Now, it's not 100% proof, as in, like, mundane people's proof. However, your statement does seem to match up, where the Fae, who have been infiltrating society, converting society, may very well have been doing so. And the faithful followers that have been following the Fomorians, ooh, that was almost a tongue twister, could have been infected or replaced or something beforehand. You have been following apparently an information network, and from what you understood in Green Shield, the Fae use mushrooms in order to communicate or to otherwise pass along information, to make gates into their realm. There's a lot of things here that maybe you grew up thinking, well, they're fairy tales, and fairy tales were just that, fairies, because fairies aren't real. They are, and this is starting to come to light. And the Fomorians, in trying to track this and what could have happened, you're piecing it together. You're putting yourselves in their giant footsteps here. And at some point in time, they most likely were waylaid by these followers. They were attacked and defended themselves, which led. You have these giants that eventually had overcome at least 3 of these infected people, and continued on out of the brush. Which, it's magic, and, who can cast magic? You've seen Bright do many things. You've seen Mordecai do many things. Celine has done many things. However, the bodies that at least held the people, or they were holding the bodies, and especially up off of the ground, and they seem to have this ability when coming into contact with the ground that they spawned these savage red mushrooms. The Fomorians may very well have left that behind as a sort of defense, especially because they could just amble out of the brambles and continue on in this savage pursuit, since it seems like the Fomorians are very anti-Fae. This then could lead to a host of concerns due to the infiltration of the Fae. Or even hopes that the Fomorians could possibly be a solution to the Fae. As far as Mordecai is concerned, that's your opinion. Mordecai is in his own state, but you're piecing this together, and you're having this extreme moment of clarity. And in this, as if not the powers of a fickle god, perhaps the little tendril of a pickle god is stirring your mind. Do you have another theory or another question that you would like some kind of revelation on, from things that you know or don't know, and you're seeking confirmation? As I'm going through and I'm handing out interesting little rewards with the fickle god's blessing on you all.
I was told that going along this route would end up aiding with the ultimate objective of being able to put out the fires and deal with the situation, we just end up leaving.
Okay.
How is any of that connected to this? Is at this point, this is a wild goose chase.
Okay.
This is us chasing a squirrel at this point, as far as Jacob is concerned, and has been a complete and utter waste of time. That's to that particular end.
All right.
And he did not end up he getting Mordecai out of prison and offer a pardon to Bright to just join up on a wild goose chase because Celine is obsessed with Fomorians and is currently high off her ass.
Yes, she is.
Not my fault.
And that is also true.
That's what everybody who's an addict says.
That is also true. All right, so you're having this moment of extreme clarity and lucidity here. The Fomorians, besides an interesting incursion of the supernatural in the same city in which this burning tower manifested, do not seem to have a direct connection with each other. This is simply, there are things happening in the city that do not have an apparent direct connection to each other, yet each of them can be important in one way or another. That said, being able to breach the wall of fire or to put out these magical, even these dark fires, there's no way, especially Jacob, with you, that you would know to conquer that. The people that you're chasing down, the Fomorians, are learned students of magic who even had people on the scene studying the effects, studying what it could mean. And so, while the Fomorians, you're not suspecting, have caused the tower, they could possibly, whether in their current Fomorian form, or if they're reverted back to their normal clergy, people of the cloth who study magic and study death. And of course, this tower does seem to have elements of both, due to the incineration of one of the guards around it. They might be able to help if you can recover them. Otherwise, unless normal means of in pumps or even like create water. Well, maybe there's a local, like a druid or someone who could create water in Green Shield in an emergency basis, something along those lines. You might have seen that didn't seem to work, and so there's either other clues which could be related to the riddles, that if you're trusting Bright, like this means something, and it has to. There's a connection to all this. The Fomorians could be tangentially related, but they're not directly. It would be one could help the other, but one didn't necessarily cause the other. As the Fomorians don't seem to be connected, their transformation wasn't because of the tower, and they don't seem to be concerned directly with the towers. They're out on a mission to defeat the Fae, which of course are also abducting, kids and adults in Green Shield. And there's these weird mushrooms, which of course is what brought you even out here. You were supposed to be on vacation, but you ended up making a working vacation, and all of this is going on. And I will also say this too, in your moment of clarity, because Celine, as bright as you are, Celine, pay attention, and you go blah, 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 and you roll that very expertly. You did a very good job memorizing that. Celine is kind of like giggling and is translating as you're speaking Draconic to her. And what that ends up translating to from Celine, as she's sort of laying on the ground next to a corpse that is slowly growing mushrooms that match the color of Mordecai, especially in its empty head. She goes, "One tooth to bite, he's the forest's foe. One tooth to fight, as all the lumberjacks know." And you're just you're thinking of this. You got that throbbing, like the vein on the side here. And Celine is having a giggle fit and is repeating this over and over. One tooth to bite, he's the forest foe. One tooth to fight, as all the lumberjacks know. And you just look and you say, "An axe! It's a god's damned axe! or you don't, I don't want to emote for you, but we're reaching a crescendo where your mind is just and it snaps, and you even you point to Kazimir as Peggy Sue quickly ducks into his ear, and Kazimir, you can react as Jacob here is just
Which one? I have 3.
he's pointing at you. So, I don't know, which one's your favorite?
Oh no, which axe? I have 3.
Jacob, you could choose which axe.
Well, I have an axe. Hand axe.
Ah. You reach
A
for your
fourth
trusty
axe.
hand axe. And, and as you, because Kazimir has just axes galore. And you reach, because you do have your trusty hand axe that you've been using this whole time here. And it's an axe, you're like, it's an axe! And you're waving it at the others, and Bright, you can see that this little silver worm thing, WYRM, but also kind of WORM like, is balancing right on the haft and is wiggling around, and is babbling in Draconic as it's being waggled.
Jacob, can you hold your axe still so I can listen to it for a minute? I'm not high.
He kind of looks at you with this. He is still not sure on what the hell to do with you all. And just buries it into a nearby log and leaves it alone.
Okay. Bright,
Silly.
you want to go up to this thing and listen to it?
I would like that very much.
Okay.
Celine is cackling in the corner like, yeah, he's lost his marbles! They're all over the floor!
I am gonna put my hands on Celine, and I'm gonna cast Lesser Restoration on her.
Okay.
Oh,
Better.
I have a pounding headache. What happened?
You were high as balls.
How?
So, Mordecai poofed spores on you, and it made you,
I knew there was
Do you not
something
remember?
different. No.
I don't believe you.
I mean, if you want to roll an insight check.
I'm not gonna do that.
Okay.
So. Right, what do you find out? It also occurs to me we have a helm of comprehend languages in my pack.
We do have helm of comprehend like. Oh, I forgot that we even had that. Oh, that's great.
that would have been nice to know.
I only just remembered I have it, so.
Do you mind if I borrow that for a second? I don't have an appropriate prop right now. I have a helmet, but it's upstairs, and I don't want to go get it.
It's fine. We'll just imagine you have a
Fair, I
Magneto
don't know
helmet
if
on
it
you right now or
requires
something.
attunement or not.
So I'll put the. I feel like I really need something.
You have a baseball cap or something? Oh, there we go. That works. That
That's
works.
the best I can do. I'll bring a helmet next game.
All right. So there we go. Bright is slowly turning into Magneto. Everyone. All right. So as the little thing is sort of doing a little dance and repeating its draconic phrase to you, as it's dancing on the the hilt of Jacob's axe that has been buried into the roadside log. It says the following. Ah, my breath doth shake, my limbs are thin, my belly aches. Whiteness doth crown my head, and the tracks I leave are unsteady where I've led. I look out through rheumy eyes, and seem to say my last goodbyes. The darkness doth draw me near, I lean towards it, the better to hear.
Okay, I didn't get that. So,
I made sure to put it in both audience
Oh.
chat and game chat.
okay, well that's nice. Okay, so, well, it's not immediately obvious, but maybe soon I'll figure it out. Anybody else can. So this time I get to repeat it to you guys.
Yay!
Yeah.
And I do that.
Yep.
So if anybody knows the answer,
For more of a poetic, because I should have not for cadence or something, but I would prefer something like silver doth crown my head instead of whiteness doth crown my head.
Silverness.
I mean, it's probably just like a really old man.
No.
With indigestion.
An old man with it.
Doth shake.
You got me
This
that
is-
very specific answer. Ah!
This is describing someone on their deathbed.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's...
And last goodbyes. What's it? Better shake. Deathbed.
Well, if it's someone on their deathbed, then the answer... If it's someone on their deathbed, then the answer to the riddle would most likely be... Like, just following along that line of thinking, the answer would be death.
I don't think it's death. It must be like someone who's about to die. And the saddest thing would be if it was Mr. Halver and now we're too late.
Well, the thing is that it seemed to say
No.
my last goodbye, the darkness doth draw me near, I lean towards it, the better to hear.
Someone
It's
Those
who's...
talking
two
suicide.
Oh, or someone who's just ready to
I
die.
lean towards it. It's better to
Yeah,
hear.
yeah.
This is a choice. This is an action.
But I don't think it has to be a suicide. I think it could just be someone who's tired and ready to die.
I know many an old person who has asked me to perform rites of that nature. I haven't, of course, but I've been asked.
My breath doth shake. I got nothing.
Yeah, no, I think you're on the right track, Derek. I'm thinking the answer is death.
Who's
Because-
Derek?
Well, no, that
Slate's still hallucinating!
I mean, if we find... I mean, I know your temple takes care of a lot of people who are near death, so we just need to and see if someone, see if someone clicks.
I mean,
Be
yeah,
anyone.
that would also help.
I don't know. Have I heard something like this, Matty?
No, this would not be something in your former repertoire here.
Nothing I've heard, nothing that I've come across.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
Someone old, though.
The only person that this reminds me of is... I'm sure he's long gone.
Sorry, who?
Soldier. I know that he didn't make it. But he's gone now, I think.
Yeah, he
Been
died.
like a month. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a month ago.
Yeah. I hate death. I hate funerals.
Unfortunately, it's the world I live in.
It is natural part of life.
Yeah. So, what are we doing?
Well, now that Kazimir isn't quite so urgently patient. I mean, I know how much of what Jacob said recently was actually out loud. I mean, it was all like inner monologue, right?
Derek, are you still here? If not, I'll make a judgment
Yeah.
call. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Was what you were saying, you going over your notebook, because you do tend to go, to repeat things and speak your mind out loud from your book, or was your examination completely inside yourself?
I'll say it aloud for sake of convenience.
Bright, can you also make an investigation?
Maybe
Part of you.
18.
Ooh, also an 18. All right.
Loves.
All right.
Just see where.
I'm typing something out for you here. There we go. For all of you out there in the audience, I was typing out some brain thoughts that Bright could possibly be having to herself as Jacob was thinking on a few things, and really, especially because it's 3 and lethality, you probably have to get going for the gathering of nerds. What we can do is, in the aftermath of the fight here, as you are experiencing, you're having these questions, you're stopping to think on things. Weird stuff is happening around you as you make a decision. Should we press on towards the Fomorians? Should we turn back? What could this clue possibly mean? Does it refer to a person or a state of being, as some of you are talking about? We'll we'll call it here for the evening, and out of character we'll have a week. If you have questions or you want to ponder stuff, do some side role play, or if you have questions as well to ask, or just to sit down and figure things out.
Are we picking up next week exactly where we're leaving off right now?
We can, unless some of you want to have, like, I don't know, a short rest of contemplation or something. There's nothing attacking you right now.
I mean, a short rest would be nice.
So,
At the very least.
sure, we'll say you at least have a short rest, and then we'll pick up at the end of that.
Okay.
Cool.
As you're
Okay.
contemplating things, you're going over clues, you're thinking about your current state. Mordecai, you might, I don't know if you want to experiment a little bit more with the body that you have right now.
I'm very likely going to do more side RP.
Sure.
Yes. There's gonna be.
Okay. I'll read it and respond if you need me to respond to something.
Sounds good.
Excellent. All right. Well, good
All right.
games. Yeah, I know Derek was really dragging today, but he powered through,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
good games for everybody else. Hopefully,
Yeah,
it was-
I had a
was
coffee
entertaining.
before the session just to make sure that I myself was pepped up. So no, it was nice of him to stick through it.
Yeah.
All right, Celine, real quick before I go on break, and then we'll come back and maybe do some party games. What is your one shot this week? What's your level and your prompt?
Now, this week we're doing something quite a lot different,
Oh,
actually. For this week, we're putting down our wizard robes and hats and holy symbols and the like, and picking up the mantle of superheroes, as we're going to be playing the 3rd edition of Mutants and Masterminds.
hey, all right. Still a one shot, or are you doing like a mini adventure?
Still a one shot.
Okay.
But it's still a D20 game, but it's very different to D&D. So watch us all bumble about on stream as we try and figure out the intricacies of this system, because it's exceptionally
Tackle a
convoluted.
system we don't really know.
Yep. Speaking of, I need to go print off my character.
Yep,
So
go.
that's ready.
Go set
And,
up as my cat's knocking everything
ready.
off my desk with his tail. I'm gonna get up and take a break to clean up and refresh myself, and
And I'm going to go to bed.
yep, go to bed, and
Okay.
we'll play some party games in the meantime until
Flash me jumps over a fence.
until we see you go live. Whee! All right, everyone, you all take a break, and if any want to stick around, I'll give you a Jackbox room code, and we'll have some fun together.
How long do you suppose before we start?